I didn't say I was single and looking. I just said I was single. Okay.
Single
Don't try to
and
comment
ready to
anything down
mingle.
below.
We'll have her phone number at the bottom.
Hey guys, it's FaithDuo.
Back with another video. Are you mocking me?
Alright, you guys, as you can see, we pulled Caryn back in and we are interviewing her today. And we are wanting to get all types of different views from different Christians so you can see different walks of life in Christianity and so forth. So,
All right, first question. What do you think most people misunderstand about Christians?
Well, I think people think that we're perfect, or we think we are perfect, or that we're better than other people. All that's kind of the same thing. They think that Christians don't make mistakes, or that we're just like Jesus. We're trying to be like Jesus, and that means we think we're perfect, which is not the case at all. Not at all.
good answer.
Well, I mean, and David, obviously he did some stuff.
Yeah.
And he was still a man after God's own heart. A harlot saved Joshua and Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas was doubting, but he was still an apostle. I mean, Peter cut off somebody's ear. There's, everybody makes mistakes. And just because we're trying to be like somebody who's perfect doesn't mean that we are. Jesus is the only one that's perfect. So Christians do make mistakes. We struggle from day to day with a lot of the same things that everybody else struggles with.
What's the problem that you feel like I guess the most challenging problem that you've been through that you overcame?
So bad things have happened to me. There's, and I don't need to get specific because I think the main thing, the hardest thing that's every single day that it's hard to get past is patience, at least for me. For me personally. So when we got to work a job. Unfortunately, I don't get to work in the church or in a I guess a Christian-like job per se, but so I work in the regular world around a lot of people who are not Christian, and so it is very difficult. It's difficult to deal with people sometimes, people from different walks of life who are mean to you, who are rude to you, who don't understand you or try to get you in some way, and patience is very difficult. It's hard to, because people think we're perfect. It ties into that. Yeah. If you're ever like short with somebody, or you don't get them, or you do anything. I thought you were a Christian. I mean, exactly. Well, you do. So it's hard to deal with people when you're trying to present Christ and trying to show that you are of Christ, and be around people who are not, to laugh with people and get to know people and be friendly with people when you don't always agree with everything they're saying and doing. And it's difficult to deal with difficult people, especially I work in a customer service type of job, so
service.
It's real. And sometimes, unfortunately, people who say they're of Christ or say that they're in the church are the worst to deal with, because they feel like, well, because I'm a Christian, then I can do whatever I want because I'll get forgiven, or something of that nature. So every struggle on a daily basis is patience to be your best self around people who are challenging that. I always personally have Christ or the church is what mellows me, helps me feel better. It helps life to stay stagnant. But going to work every day, going out in the public every day, dealing with people who are rude to you or inappropriate to you or try to call at you or something as a woman too, that it's difficult not to just snap and get rude or have like road rage because somebody cuts you off. Like all that is kind of tied into that. And it's all the time, every single day. And I've definitely made mistakes and thought, ooh, I hope nobody saw that. But obviously God sees it, so we gotta keep on that.
Every day we have to overcome and pick up ourselves the next day and try to be better than we were the day before. So patience is, I think, is a huge one for everybody.
I do think that the newness that God gives every morning is like a blessing that everybody takes for granted, because like every day you can just start over. Like, it's fine.
And we don't know when it'll be our last day as well. You do get a new day, but what if you don't? So you have to really struggle with, if this is the last time somebody sees me or comes in contact with me, is this what I want to present to them? Is this what I want to show to them? And unfortunately, sometimes you don't get that second chance.
Tell me about a Christian that touched your heart, or just somebody that, you know, helped you along the way and kind of change your thinking or change the way that you started acting.
Caryn, you don't even have to say
I said, I don't have to say you do, right? But no, I have two.
Okay.
One, I mean, most people watching this may not know this person, but her name is Margaret Christ. She's a much older lady, I would say 90-ish, I'm not sure exactly. But a long time ago, probably 10 years plus, I don't know, 15 maybe. I was dating someone at the time who was not a Christian, who wasn't a good example and wasn't really helping me to be who I was supposed to be being. And my mom, you know, my parents are disappointed in me. I was coming home too late, I was staying out, and they knew that I wasn't being who I was supposed to be. So anyway, this lady, Miss Margaret, she had a husband who was not a Christian. She was married to him for a very long time before he passed, and he was never a Christian as far as I know. And she wrote me a letter. She knew my mom must have talked to her, or they've met him once. I can't remember why, but she wrote me a letter and said something about, you know, I always wish that my husband was a Christian. And she just was trying to encourage me to think about that, to think about, you know, what if this is your last moment? Is this how you want to be? Is this the person you want to be with? And it was very sweet. It didn't offend me. It didn't really even make me mad, but she said it and wrote it in a way that really made me think. We probably did stay together for a little longer, not gonna lie, but we didn't stay together. In the end, we did not stay together, and it really helped me to think about that in the long run.
Yeah.
Like that's a great point. I mean, why am I doing this if it's never gonna last, and I'm not helping him to be who he's supposed to be? Because in the end, we go to heaven. Initially, we go to heaven by ourselves. We are the person we need to save first. So if I'm not saving myself, I'm obviously not saving anyone else. So anyway, what she said really helped me in that.
Well, that's good that you can have somebody that can come to you and not like offend you, but still get their point across and, you know, help you out. So that's really good. And
she did it not even knowing if it would offend me or not, because she cared about me a lot, and she cared about my family, and she really wanted to help. The other one is something different. It was, and do I remember his name? Oh, yes, I do. I do remember his name. His name is Blackwell, which is a good link to put down below, just saying. But he's, I think World, anyway, we'll put it later. I can't remember what it's called. World Video Bible or something like that, Video Bible School. But anyway, he's known, he works a website. He's in charge of a Christian website that has a lot of resources and videos and things. Anyway, he came to our congregation to speak about alcohol, about drinking. And that was a specific topic. That's why I remember it was a second one. And I wasn't, I had drank before socially, like with people who weren't Christians or anything, but I never had a problem with it or anything like that. But he spoke about the topic and should we or should we not drink? And we can link that later down below, because, you know, it's a lot to read and a lot to go through. That's a whole separate topic, but that's what it was about. And I had been hanging out with people and dating people who had drink, because it's a normal worldly social thing. So he went through the whole lesson and he made a lot of really good points, and it just, all of a sudden, then I thought, you know what, I shouldn't be doing that. He's right. And for some reason, whatever way he said it just made a lot of sense to me. Just a lot of sense. And so I haven't, I just didn't do it anymore.
What was it, the fraction drunk?
No, it was, I mean, there was a lot of different, I remember him saying, like, it talked about being an example. So, like, say you're out and you're drinking and somebody sees you drinking. Is that the best example you could set for somebody who maybe doesn't go to church and wants to? oh, well, she drinks, so I can do that too. And you don't know who you're influencing. If somebody sees you drinking and then, they want to drink and then they have a problem, then you may have kind of been that stumbling block for them and not even known it, possibly. Yep. And it talks about, one drink, you're closer and closer. And, there was a lot, like I said. But whatever he said, it just really hit home, and it made a lot of sense. And it was different from everything else I'd ever heard. Because growing up, don't drink, don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do this. And that's all you ever hear sometimes, especially when you're younger. So the way he presented it just made a lot of sense. And I kind of like to say, so.
Okay, if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
I would just say, tomorrow is a new day. I do like that idea. We already talked about it. Maybe it's in my mind, but tomorrow is a new day. And why? Because so many people are going to come across that. You never know, which is a cliche thing to say, but you never know what somebody is going through. Remember that maybe a lot of bad stuff happened today, maybe you made a lot of mistakes today, but tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow you can change. You could change right now if you wanted to.
All right, so how did you get introduced to the Bible or the church, and when did you realize that you need to become a Christian?
I don't know what I was going to say. So I became a Christian, I remember the date, May 25th, 1997.
Why are you trying to be the same month as me?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So May 25th, 1997, which was one day before my 14th birthday.
Mine was like 1 week before my...
Stop trying to I
was 14. No, I was 13. So, but I remember the date because it was the day before my birthday, and I was really happy that I got baptized, and I wanted Chick-fil-A real bad, but Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays.
More power to them. I like it.
They got the right idea in mind. But anyway, so I was about to be 14, and I remember thinking, I should have done this already. I definitely should have done this already. I was too old. I should have been a Christian already. I was definitely smart enough and mature enough.
Here we go.
To know that I should have been a Christian. I remember specifically thinking I should have done this already. And maybe, and I don't remember why I didn't. Maybe I was scared to go up, or I was probably you go up front, like at least where we were going. They would ask if anybody had anything to say or like prayers to ask for, come forward. You had to go all the way up to the front of the church building in front of everybody. And at that time, there was a lot of people going there. And so it was like, I imagine that it was because I was very nervous and just didn't want people staring at me or something. And as a woman, we weren't like involved in the service like the men were, obviously. So it's nerve-wracking. But I just remember thinking I should have done this already. And I go up, and I remember I was chewing gum, and my mom was making fun of how I was talking and chewing gum at the same time, and that was rude, and she corrected me on that later. In a nice way, probably. But I was happy to do it. And I remember that I didn't ask for my dad to baptize me, and usually that's what people do. But for some reason, I wanted our friend Dick Weber to baptize me, because I think he was teaching our youth class at that time, and maybe he's a few years younger than me, but maybe you were in there the same. I don't remember if we were in there. Maybe his brother was in there, but probably. We all had a youth class, and Dick Weber. Probably I should have said him for the people that influenced me the most, but now that I'm thinking of it. But anyway, I asked for him to baptize me, and I don't think my dad was sad. I never asked him if he was, but I think he was just happy that I was getting baptized, and it didn't really matter who baptized you,
I'm sure I'm feel like I don't care who baptized me.
But I grew, and I grew up in the church. I will say that my whole life I've been going to church as long as I can remember. I've been going I've been with the church, going to worship, doing all that my whole life, as long as I can remember. My parents grew up my mom grew up in the church. My dad was a Christian like around his age 18, I think, and that's when they got married. So my whole life I've been going every Sunday, twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday, my whole life. I can count on one hand how many times I did not go to church, honestly. So it was... For me, I knew probably way before then I should have been a Christian and got baptized, but I just, for whatever reason, I didn't. And I was kind of young. I don't remember exactly why. And I remember that night, so I got baptized Sunday morning, And that night, 2 more people got baptized. Jessica Whitmire, shout out to Jessica, whatever her last name is now, and Nathan White also got baptized that same night. He was my brother's best friend and a little older than me.
I think I remember him.
Mm-hmm.
What are you not very good at?
They ask you this in job interviews. Have they ever done that?
What's your biggest weakness?
I'm not going to tell you what my weakness is. Don't y'all use this against me.
That's
that
my
question. I
biggest
know us.
weakness. Yeah.
All right.
What am I not good at? I'm not always good at not saying no. And what I mean by that is like, you want to be nice to people, and if they ask you to do something, you just want to say yes, even though you know you don't really have the time, or you can't really devote the time to it to make it as good as you possibly could, or saying yes to things and then not showing up because you know you're probably not going to make it, like that kind of thing. So
You do that?
yeah, sometimes.
When?
That's what I'm saying, because I do everything people ask me all the time.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
sometimes you get stressed out, or like, because part of that is because sometimes you can resent people. Like, you'll start blaming them because you don't get stuff done. It's your fault because you asked me to do this and now I can't get this done. No, that's on you. You need to say no if you can't do it. And I'm working on that. I think I'm a lot better than I used to be because now I'm older and I get tired, you know, and I don't want to work like all day and all night. So if somebody asks you, can you stay late? No, because I have Bible class. Or can you do this? I said, well, you know, if I'm already watching somebody's pets and somebody else asks me, well, I could if I do this day and this time, then I'll get it all done. But no, I think in the end, your mental health and your stress level is more important to your daily living. So really think about how much you have on your plate and whether you really should be doing it. And is it stopping you from doing the things you're really supposed to be doing?
Now, I've read books, I've listened to videos on like successful people, and that's what they say. They became good at saying no, and they're able to dedicate, because whatever you say yes to, you're dedicating your time, your energy to it, and you're saying no to a lot of other things. But when you can become efficient at saying no to what you need to, you can become more efficient and be successful at the things that you need to be doing. So that's something that I need to work on too, because I feel like I'm a yes man. I want to please everybody, say yes to this and that. But I do need to say no sometimes. Last question. If you had $100 million, no red tape, what would you do with it?
Ooh, it's hard not to be selfish when you have that much money, I imagine. But I think that if there's plenty of it, $100 million, I definitely don't owe that much in debt, okay? So I could definitely pay off my debt.
Yeah.
First of all, we're not going to tell you how much it is,
0.1%,
but something, a little bit of it. And then I would pay off my parents' debt, because I think that would make everyone happier if you're not worrying about money is not everything, but it does help a little bit, and I think that would take out a lot of stress for a lot of people. If I had plenty of it and I knew people were hurting, I would pay off my parents' debt, my friends' debt, my brother's debts. Like, I would pay it all. If I had $100 million and there was no red tape, like he said, and I could spend it and not worry about was I ever going to get any more or something, then sure, I would definitely do that. And I also think this isn't even really church related, because money doesn't bring people to church. Not really, because it goes away. It's not something that lasts forever. Yeah. So I think I would definitely pay off debt. Maybe I would even help the church building, help them get a new roof or something or whatever. So my job, I work in the healthcare industry, and it kind of is related to debt, but I honestly, I would like go into where people check in and pay co-pays and pay their bills and just be like, oh, I got that. Yeah. And just like, because it's so stressful, and that's part of dealing with people every day. People get really upset about money, upset about having to pay it, upset about people saying they owe it. And that's a lot of the reason why people get upset. And so if I had plenty of money, I would be like, like Tyler Perry, or like Ludacris or whoever like walks around to Walmart's be paying people's layaways or whatever, and I would just like go to hospitals and pay people surgery bills. I mean, sometimes it's only like $600, which is a lot of money, but if you have $100 million, it's nothing.
Right.
So I think it is selfish in a way because helping people makes you feel better, but it also is nice to help people. It's nice to make them feel better. Like, you know, I'll pay them their college or whatever. I may not ever have kids, but if I got friends that have kids, give them some money, let them like, you know, save their first car off to the side or whatever, pay people's debt, help people, because I think that makes people feel better, and you never know even if they don't appreciate it. Some people will like it if you hold the door open for them. I mean, pay their bills, they'll be real happy. But I mean, the little things, just helping people pay off 2 cars behind you, pay off for their food or whatever. And I could just go around to like random places and just start paying people stuff. You know, like I would pay off my car and get a nice car, pay off my house and get a nice house. But I would help other people with it too. I know I would, because I would feel too guilty just like enjoying myself and everybody else around me is miserable. Like, that's no fun. You want people to like be happy too, not
Caryn,
just yourself.
You are so
I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, that's not a lie, just so people will think I'm cool and I'm like, I'm so nice.
That's how you are, though.
But I would totally do that. If I feel, and that's part of being a yes person too, that you want people to be happy and you want to help them. And if you feel bad saying no because oh man, what are they gonna do? You know, but in the end, I think they'll understand if you have to. But I would hope that it makes you feel good to help somebody else. You know, and it doesn't matter if they appreciate it. It doesn't matter if they never help you. What matters is yourself. Whatever, if, you know, you need to be your best self and do what you're supposed to do, and it should not matter what anybody else is doing. Even if they're rude to you, you hold the door open and they don't say thank you. It doesn't matter. You did what you were supposed to do. It doesn't matter if nobody else is going to the church or to worship. It only matters at the moment what you're doing. It only matters if you're nice to them and you're nice, because you can't.
Yeah, don't get wrapped up in feelings.
We want to please God, not men.
Thank you. Good one. We can put that up on the screen.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I do have one more question to end the video. What is your favorite Bible verse?
So, don't laugh. And I'm sorry, I don't know what the verse is, but we're going to put that on the screen or down below too, because my memory is not so good. Anyway, my favorite verse is, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." And I know that sounds like, I know, but that is,
there's so many bad people out there though.
Well, yeah, it is, and it's said more than once, I will say that, and it's quoted in the New Testament, I think, and it's from the Old Testament, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So anyway, the reason that it's my favorite, not because I'm coming from a place of negativity or like they'll get theirs, but some people probably do think that. But the reason that I like that is because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel that no matter what is happening, that we will get what we deserve in the end, whether it's bad things or good things. Whether if somebody does me wrong and nobody ever notices, they're gonna get what they deserve, and not in a mean-spirited way, really, or like in a vengeful way, even though it says vengeance, but that God will take care of you no matter what. And that's another verse too, obviously, but it brings peace to me to know that God will always repay, whether it's now or later, in the next life, or in heaven or paradise. We will all get what we deserve.
But I do like the way that you look at it, because it's like looking at a glass of water, half empty or half full, and it's just a different perspective, because I never really thought of it that way, but I like the way that you think of it.
What difference does it make what anybody else thinks? It matters what God thinks, and God sees everything that you're doing and thinking, and you're working hard, and you're at work on time, you're stopping at the red lights and the stop signs, you're paying all your bills on time, you know, you're being nice to everyone and opening the door. God sees that no matter if anyone else does. He's in control, and vengeance is his, so you don't need to go about worrying about, you know, making everybody get theirs. They'll see, you know. You don't need to worry about that. But you know, I mean, but nobody is perfect. that just goes right around to the first thing we were talking about. Not everyone is perfect. No one is perfect. Let me say that. No one is perfect. We're all going to mess up. Sometimes my glass will be half empty, and that's just the way it is because it's a real hard day and you're really tired or something. But, every day is a new day. That was another, and God is in control, and it will change, and it can look up, and you can change your day. You can make your glass half full again, and remember that God is watching everyone, not just you. Even if they don't believe in God, God believes in them and believes that they have a chance no matter what. And He's always watching people, even if they're not in the church. He knows what's going on, and He will take care of it in one way or another.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming on here and taking your time so that we can interview you and get your perspective.
Yes, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed
did.
just picking your brain a little bit. It was good. It was beautiful. It'll be nice to her.
So we appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Much love. Be the light.